Hello and welcome to Let's Program with Santier. I'm Santier, and today we're going to continue working on the task tracker. So when last we left off, I was over here in the task module area because I was going to add some more task modules. I took some time between recordings to kind of plan out what the remaining task modules that I want to add are. So I have a handy dandy list. I want to have a select file option. So what the select file will do is you give it, well, it's actually technically like select file or folder. You give it basically a full path, and then it will open the folder that has the item in it and will select it. So the behavior is particularly useful, for example, if you want to have a say an image file that you're pointing to or indicating that you want to say, okay, I want to use this image in something, but I'm going to drag and drop it into the image editor rather than like open it up in a picture viewer, and it's like, well, that's not very useful. So that behavior then would be useful for something like that. That's particularly what I have in mind for it, is that sort of drag and drop functionality, but it could be used for other things like, say, movie files that I want to upload to YouTube. I could have them in this select file as well, and it would be like, well, here's the file you wanted, sir. And it's like, okay, click the little link, and it would open it up to that. So that's the behavior there. I also want a picture, and so I'm going to want some thumbnail related functionality. So clicking it should do a select file behavior on it or open it. So I want to allow a choice there for what clicking on it does. I want a couple of standalone browser things. I want something for running programs, and that's kind of the summary of what I want. Now, I was thinking also that something that would actually be reasonable would be over here in program. If you recall, I was talking about name thing for the icon. Is that the right term? But anyway, I was thinking that something that could work pretty well would be right here, good old select task behavior, and maybe set notify icon text here. Like so. I don't know if that's going to make sense or not, but I figured like just have the last selected task be in there. So why not? See if that's something that I like. Let's see. And then, yeah, it should just be like, if you do that, then you open it, or if you close the thing, it should still be on that page, that same scroll location, because the window's not actually getting destroyed, it's just being hidden. Which is important because global hotkeys need to keep working. And that's how they keep working. Okay. So, what I want to do now is, let's see, the task edit form module. I need to add the remaining modules that I want, I guess. That's the main thing that I have. Actually, something that I might as well do right now is I'm going to want another setting. So let's just go ahead and go to our settings. This is going to be thumbnail height. This is going to be kind of an important value, because one of the things that I'm going to want to have in this is I'm going to want to have thumbnails. So let's go ahead and go to our settings over. Actually, we should bring this back up and give this a default value of like 100. Okay, so if we go over to our settings form, okay, this I decided I don't need. Standalone browser. I'm going to go ahead and move this down slightly. We'll just tweak this a little bit, but I want to add a thumbnail height. This is going to be important in terms of being a actually, okay, so I'm going to put this afterwards because the dimension thing that you may have just seen makes it a little nice to have this afterwards. Where's my numeric up down? Here's my numeric up down. Sure, it really wants to be there. We'll put that there, there. I mean, it doesn't need to be particularly tall, does it? Okay. Get this nice and organized. This needs to have a minimum of something reasonable, like 10, which is very small. And its maximum should be something like 512, which is pretty big, quite frankly. More than that, and it kind of ceases to be a thumbnail in the first place. I mean, it's even questionable whether or not it is one at that size. So, properties, settings, default. Thumbnail height has more of an H in it. Okay. And then properties, settings, default, thumbnail height equals int thumbnail height value. There we go. That should do what we need to do right there. So the purpose of this is to just specify how tall we want the thumbnails to be for the picture property that I'll be adding. Might as well add it right now. It doesn't really matter what order I have them in. I didn't have picture. The next one that I had on my list of things is a select file, but picture is something I might as well do now. Okay, so this one's going to be a little complicated because I'm going to want to make a cache. A cache of thumbnails, so that way I'm not like reloading them all the time. But I'm going to want to make sure, because basically the way that this is going to work is, well, task module. So basically the way that this is going to work is I'm going to have I'm going to clean up the cache during archive. So I need to make sure that things that are archived don't, or basically the cache is going to be used on for like reloading or whatever. So if things are archived, they're not going to do that. So I'm going to need to have special behavior in the, I guess, category view task control to not do that. Because one of the things is like, I don't want to necessarily like keep image memory around that I don't need to, because it gets to be very expensive. Region overrides. In fact, I'm basically going to hide images on anything that's been marked completed. So it's on completed that I'm going to clean up the cached image. So I'm going to need image location and cached image location. So the idea here is that I'm going to use the cached image to do stuff with, because again, that's going to be, it's really important to make sure that your images aren't really huge, especially if you're using a lot of them. I don't expect to, but storing the full image in the program's memory is actually a really bad idea because it will be quite large. So so I'm going to just mark this as like select file. Choose the behavior that I want by default, but this is probably going to be set up with radio buttons between select file and open file. Okay, so let's begin working on some of our override. Blocks completion is fine being the way that it is. This needs to be picture. On completion is going to need something. This is going to actually need if file dot exists cached image location file dot delete cached image location. So if it exists, so clean up the cached file on completion, because there's no reason to keep images around for things that have been completed, and leaving them floating around is just going to take up memory. We don't want to be leaving that just floating around for no good reason. So, and we'll actually go ahead here and set cached image location equal to nothing again as well, because it's gone. This is just going to return image location. Yeah, actually, it should return image plus image location dot substring image location dot last index of slash +1. Okay, and that's the start index. Cool. So what this little behavior will do, this is kind of interesting. So this finds the last location of this character in a string. So this will find the last forward slash, which we use in path names. And so we take the substring. Now, if this doesn't find it, it'll return -1. If it does find it, then it'll report the actual location of it. So if we add 1 to it, then if we don't find it, we just start at 0, which is where we would want to start anyway. If we do find it, then we start at the character after the last slash, which then will return this, with this substring function, will return to this, which will be basically the name of the image file and not the fully, with all of its path and everything. So it will be kind of sanitized, cleaned up, whatever you kind of want to say. So that's going to make that a lot nicer, I guess, to work with. It will basically, yeah, this will just give the name of the image instead of like the full, C:/ blah, 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 blah. So you can actually tell what image it's talking about, as opposed to, like, for example, in the thing on the left where it's saying, oh, this is an image, and you can't tell, like, okay, what's the actual name of the image. This will actually let you see the name of the image without it being some long thing. So that's going to be a lot better to work with. I don't need blocks completion. I need archive. Read and write. So cached image location. Okay, so this one's definitely going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to make this a, well, I'm just going to give it a, it doesn't need to be one to have an on click. And so what I'm going to do here is if select file run dot select item image location else run dot open file image location. There we go. So if you've selected an item, or if you tell it to select the file, it'll select it. If you tell it to open it, it will open it. I don't need to make it the thing, the IATM linked behavior. By the way, I should have mentioned this when I was writing it, but I didn't. Preceding an interface with the character I is a just a common sort of notation to indicate this thing is an interface. So that's actually a very standard thing. If you, for example, just look at system right here, and if you scroll through this, you'll eventually hit I. So all of these right here are interfaces. So it's just a convention to start interfaces with an I, just to make it clear, oh, this is an interface, not a class or something. So that's just a convention. I don't see a reason to not follow it. So I'm following it. I think it's perfectly reasonable. It's clearer what's going on, that sort of thing. So next I want to do the read. So image location equal input dot read string. Cached image location equal input dot read string. And then select file equals input dot read boolean. Okay, and now all we need right here is our familiar. I did it again. I did it again, guys. I did it again. I tried to make 2 tabs out of TT. It didn't work. So, image location. Oh, yep. And guess what else I did again? I forgot to put tabs at the front. Okay. Image location. And then output dot right line tabs plus click method plus select file, select, open, there. I don't need to worry about archiving anything about the cache, because when you archive it, it shouldn't have the cache anymore. So, you know, that's pretty straightforward. Actually, I'm going to add another function to this. Technically, this onClick probably should belong outside, but whatever. I'm just putting all of the functions in here. Okay, so I need system.drawing.image. Get thumbnail. So what this is going to do is if owner.completed or owner.archived, technically it shouldn't be archived without being completed. But, return null because we shouldn't return anything. So if file.exists, so if the file exists, then the cached image location exists. Then, actually, so what we need to do right here is if this is false, then if we don't have the thumbnail cached, then create it. Okay. And then this should just return system.drawing.image. Okay. So I'm gonna put a using system.drawing.image here. Can I not put a using directive in the middle of apparently I can't put a using directive in the middle of the thing. Whatever. Might as well. Doesn't hurt anything. And I certainly am. There we go. Maybe I could. Maybe I could. Yeah. Okay. So, image.from file cached image location. So what we want to do right now is if file.exists image location okay, so there's a couple of steps that I want to do here. So I'm going to make a bool. Ooh, okay. So there's a couple of things that I want to do right here. Actually, I can do it this way. Okay, so I actually have decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to add a new image resource. It can be a PNG image. Bad image. Okay, so I want to dimensions wise make this I don't know, 256 this does not need to be square by 128. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay. So let's see. Is this a box? Cool. I want a box. Red box, maybe, actually. red box. A little bit more of a precise red box than that. Yeah, like that. And then I want line. Corner. To corner. And I want to go ahead and switch this back to black. And make the text text. That's a good idea. Bad image file. Bad image file. Or file doesn't exist. Okay. I'm okay with this font. I want to make it bigger, like there maybe. Appearance into alias colors. I make the background. Oh, that's bizarre. Okay, so we'll just use this awkward looking thing. And this will be our bad image notifier. Ideally, as a person using this, you won't see it. But if for whatever reason the image location does not exist, then we'll return image dot or we'll return properties.resources.badImage. And then right here we're going to do a try image img equals image dot from file image location okay, so what I'm going to do here is just catch exception error system.windows.forms.imagebox.show. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and have error opening image file environment.newline plus environment.newline plus error.message error okay error. And actually, I'm going to cut this and just put img here equals null. img equals null. Image location equals blank. Remember, we don't have a cache right now. So right here, I want to go if image is equal to null. Return properties.resources.badImage. Else, okay, we can actually make the thumbnail. So this is the part where we actually make the thumbnail. Yeah, that's exciting. Gonna drink some water. Yeah, okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do now in the process of making the thumbnail is, and I want to, by the way, finish setting this up in this episode. So this episode might run a little bit on the longer side because I don't expect this to be done like in the next 2 minutes. Okay, so right here we're just going to make a bitmap mp equals new. Bitmap is a generic type, I guess you would say. So here's where I'm going to need some math. So we're going to enter a width, and then the height is going to be properties.settings.default.thumbnail height. So we're making the thumbnail. So this is where it's really helpful to kind of think through the math a little bit. What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take the initial image, okay, because the initial image has a width and it has a height. So what we want to do is we want to set up a ratio. So image width, I'm just going to call it I.W, divided by I.H needs to equal B.W divided by B.H. Now, what we're looking at here is we have B.H, I.W, and I.H. So we need the width. So we multiply both sides by B.H to get us I.W divided by I.H times B.H equals B.W. So that's the piece of information that we want. So it's really useful to just quickly set up these ratios if you're not sure how to set up this sort of aspect ratio thing. Now, this can be done with just straight integers, but I'm actually going to go ahead and pass through a decimal. The reason for that is this is going to get me something more precise because this is going to have a precise sort of floating point value. So I'm just going to use this. I'm going to take the rounding of it to get the width. I just kind of want to make sure the aspect ratio is potentially slightly more accurate. It probably would be okay to just do it in ints, but I don't know. I'm just doing it this way. So we take the width divided by, let's cast this to a decimal, image.height. And then ratio times equals properties.settings.default.thumbnail height. And then this is just going to be int math.round ratio. Okay, so this right here is going to calculate out what our width is supposed to be. I'm just going to leave that comment there. Calculate width. So this right here then is going to be the actual image for our thumbnail. Now, don't be confused by this being in a bitmap. We're going to end up saving it in a PNG, but when you're working with raw image data, you can't actually display a PNG. you display a bitmap. PNG is a save format. So you have to actually turn it into something that can be displayed. So this is just a generic work-withable image format for bitmap. We're not actually going to save it as a bitmap. We're going to save it as a PNG. But yeah. So we need to graphics g equals graphics.from image. This is going to be BMP. G dot draw image. And here's where we need to use image. It's going to be at 0, 0. And let's see, I need to figure out with a specified size. So I think this should work. Okay. So what we're actually going to end up doing right here, by the way, is we're going to end up returning BMP because there's no reason not to. Now, I'm actually going to save the cache to the same area as everything else. So bmp.save. So I'm going to want this one. So program.get save path plus task tracker thumbnails plus, and this is where we're going to use the same thing that we did in the toString right here. But I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. Plus .png, comma, system, so imaging. Yeah, this is one of those things that can be kind of weird. System.drawing.imaging image format.png. So we're going to save this as a PNG. Actually, what we should do is take this gnarly mess right here, and we should put cached image location because we're going to set cached image location equal to that. Okay, so cached image location is equal to this mess. And then image location. Yeah, so the full name of that image with our new extension on. So it might be something like a, I don't know, image.jpeg.png or something weird like that, but it will be a PNG file. So what we're, create a new image to be the thumbnail. Draw the image onto the thumbnail. Save the thumbnail info. We're going to use the thumbnail. Okay, so there's one more thing that I need to do here, which is after I've used it, I can dispose of the image. This is really important to do. Those huge image resources. You want to dispose of your images, especially if you're using a lot of them, because they will take up a ton of memory. This is something that I've found in the past with programs that I've made that have used a lot of images. If you're going to be shrinking them and processing a lot of images, if you're going to be using a lot of images, you want to make thumbnails. because otherwise you'll have a ton of memory usage. The next thing that you want to do is make sure you dispose of the originals after making the thumbnails from them, or you're just going to not get any advantage whatsoever. You're going to actually take up more memory. So it's a really important idea to just chuck out those images once you're done with them. And after I've drawn it, I'm done with it. So I should definitely get rid of it to free up that memory. So that's going to set up this, which, as you may notice, is certainly not the entire business. So category view control. Now I had to fix some stuff in here last time, but we're going to come in here and go case task tracker module type dot picture. And we're going to make, well, first of all, we need our picture. And then what we're going to need is we're going to need a picture box. Picture box dot image. No. Oh, I forgot to name this. Box. Okay, box dot let's see, border style equals fix 3D, because I think that's going to be preferable. I feel like it'll be preferable. Image equals pic dot get thumbnail box dot now it might be when you stop using stuff they'll eventually client size equals box dot image dot size box dot click box dot tag equals pic flowmaster dot controls dot add box. Now, like I was just saying, it might be that we'll have some thumbnails sitting around in memory waiting for the garbage collection to kind of take care of them when our boxes go away. I'm not going to worry too much about that. It's not insubstantial amounts of memory, but it's not the program flattening quantities that a full-sized image can be. And that's the important thing. Okay, so we need our picture box equals picture box sender. And then tm picture box.tag on click. So that way when we click on this guy, we will tell the picture that it has to do whatever it's supposed to do. Okay, I think that's what we need to do for our setup here. So the last thing that we'll need to do is add a user control to be able to edit these. And this is just going to be a, I'm going to call it a picture module, because picture is one of those words that's just a little too generic for me to name a control. That makes sense. So as you might recall, we basically have 2 pieces of information we need. We're going to need some radio buttons. We're going to need a box, a label, a text box, and we're going to need a file open. If I can find one. Open file dialog. Okay, so all we're going to do with this is open image dialog. We're actually not going to filter because I don't want to pretend to know. I don't want to make things for every single image format. It's just easier for me to just make this. If it doesn't check out, you'll get messages elsewhere when it tries to create the thumbnail, which might come at a weird time, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so I need that. I need my good old trusty browse button with its 3 dots. And being much smaller. Okay. File name. We'll just go file name. Image. Dump that up there. This like that. This over here or so. And then we have 2 radio buttons. The first one is going to read click select image. This one's going to be select image. This is the one we care about. This one we don't care about. You'll see what I mean in just a second. So this one's going to be click open image. Okay. So if we go ahead and double click this and double click this, this is just going to this is just open image dialog show dialog, and then this is going to be filename.text equals open image dialog dot file name. Okay, so right here we just need to go file name. Actually, we need internal. Didn't give me interface for a nice, lovely change. And yeah, this is a super long episode, but I want to get this set up because I'm only going to test it between episodes. So I want to get it set up now so that way I can test it between this episode and the next, rather than get it done like 15, 20 minutes into the next episode. So I hope you'll bear with me with a very long episode. And if you like these super long episodes, let me know. It won't be able to change. Well, we're getting close to the end of this one, so it actually might be able to affect the next series earlier. But I feel like about half an hour is the right length, but this one's going to be like 50 minutes. So, okay, so owning picture, picture, owner equals owning picture. File name.text equals owner dot image location. And then this is the important thing right here. Select image dot checked. So this is the spot where we actually kind of care about both, but if owner dot select file, this equals true, else this dot checked equals true. However, we can then go filename.text changed and select image.check changed. Radio buttons are a little weird. Select file equals select image.checked. No, I'm pretty sure this works. I'll confirm it between stuff as well. But okay, so that's the setup that we need to do over here. We just need to come over here and give it to it. So equals new picture module. PM picture module break, like so. Build. I'll at least show you me adding the thing. And the next episode will start with me demonstrating it being a thing that exists. That is not useful. We're going to go ahead and add a task over to extra over here. And we're going to call this picture test. And we'll just come down here and we'll go picture add. And if I click that, you'll notice we get one of these. Bad image file or file doesn't exist. Just boom, right there. So anyway, that's going to go ahead and conclude things for this time. I'm going to test this thing in between stuff and see you in the next episode when I have a report on its functionality. Until then, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.